The last 48 hours have been an emotional roller coaster for Burgundy and Gold Nation. While some players shine in the off-season practices, critical contract decisions threaten to blow up in our faces. I'm going to tell you exactly what's happening behind closed doors in Ashburn, and trust me, it's not all good news. From players fighting for a roster spot to million-dollar negotiations that could define our future, the information I have for you today could completely change your perspective on the 2025 season. Stay tuned until the end, because the last piece of news I'm going to reveal has the management in total panic. I'll be honest with you, when I saw Chris Moore make that spectacular catch over rookie cornerback Trey Amos during OTAs, my first reaction was total surprise. This guy came in late last season, spent most of the time on the practice squad, and now he's making plays that force you to sit up and take notice. But let me tell you this, and listen closely. One swallow doesn't make a summer. Moore is 28 years old. He's bounced around the league, and he's competing against a receiver room that's absolutely stacked. We've got Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel Sr., Noah Brown, Luke McCaffrey, Jalen Lane, Michael Gallup, who came out of retirement, and Ja'Cory Brooks, who went undrafted. So, I ask you this, do you really think one practice catch is going to change the fact that this man is at the very bottom of the depth chart? I think Moore is doing exactly what he needs to do, showing he belongs. But the reality is harsh. If he manages to make it to the practice squad again, that would already be a triumph for him. What I like about Moore is that he's not giving up. In 2022 with the Texans, he had 548 yards and 2 touchdowns, so the talent is there. But I'm telling you this, talent without opportunity means nothing, and opportunities in Washington are scarcer than water in the desert. Here we have another interesting case, and let me explain why Coulson Yankov could be more important than you think. This guy came in last year as an undrafted free agent. Nobody gave him a chance, and he ended up on the 53-man roster. That doesn't happen by accident. What I saw in the OTAs caught my attention. That catch and run that the Commanders officially highlighted wasn't an accident. Yankov showed soft hands, immediate elusiveness, and an open field explosiveness. That makes you think twice. I believe the organization is sending a message by specifically highlighting this play. With Zach Ertz established as the top guy, John Bates with his contract extension for his exceptional blocking, and Ben Sinnott expecting a bigger role in his second year, Yankov is fighting to be that fourth tight end. Now I ask you this, can the Commanders afford to keep 4 tight ends on the roster? Historically, most teams keep 3. But if Yankov keeps making plays like this, he's going to force Adam Peters to make some tough decisions. What I like about Yankov is that he's already been through the process last year. He knows the system, knows the expectations, and, more importantly, he's already shown he can contribute when needed. I'm telling you this, don't sleep on this guy because he could surprise more than a few when the real games start. Now let's talk about something that's got me upset, and that's Jonathan Allen's departure. CBS Sports named it as our biggest loss this offseason, and I completely agree with that assessment. Allen was with Washington for 8 seasons, was a Pro Bowler, and now he's in Minnesota competing directly against us in the NFC. I'll tell you this, that's a decision that could cost us dearly when we reach the playoffs. The argument some are using is that Allen missed 9 games last year due to injury, and that the run defense struggled without him. But I ask you this, did you see what happened in those last 2 playoff games against Detroit and Philadelphia? The Lions and Eagles combined for 430 rushing yards, and Allen was on the field for those performances. Here's my problem with this decision. I think we're underestimating the value of having a consistent presence in the middle of the defensive line. Darren Payne will have to shoulder more of the load. Jerjan Newton will have to step up, but Allen's experience and leadership won't be easily replaced. Now I'll tell you this, and listen well. Allen wasn't playing at his best last year, but this man knew the system, knew his responsibilities, and when he was healthy, he could control the center of the line. The question I ask myself is this: was it worth letting him go to save money when we're in a real contention window? Minnesota clearly believes Allen still has something in the tank, and now we'll have to face him twice a year if both teams make it to the playoffs as expected. And now we come to the news that has everyone nervous, and rightly so. Terry McLaurin's contract extension is turning into a massive headache, and let me tell you exactly why this has me worried. It's been 1,072 days since we started talking about paying McLaurin what he deserves. 1,072 days. And here we are again, in the same situation, with our best receiver possibly upset over the length of these negotiations. Tom Blair from NFL.com placed McLaurin at number 4 on his list of players who deserve a pay raise, and I completely agree. But here's my problem, and listen carefully. With mandatory minicamp coming up this week, McLaurin has a big decision to make if this isn't resolved. I think the Commanders are playing with fire here. We have a real contention window with Jaden Daniels. Dan Quinn has completely transformed this franchise, and now we're going to allow our best pass catcher to be unhappy and possibly absent from practices. McLaurin has been the definition of loyalty to this organization. He has produced at an elite level, been an exceptional leader in the locker room, and represents everything good we are trying to build. The Ohio State graduate deserves to be compensated like the number 1 receiver he is. Now I ask you this, what message are we sending when we have the money, have the need, and have a player who has proven everything he needs to prove? McLaurin's representatives are trying to push the issue, and frankly, I don't blame them. Adam Peters says McLaurin is important to Washington's plans, but I'll tell you this, words don't pay bills. McLaurin loves this franchise. Peters wants him to stay, but time is running out, and patience has limits. The reality is, we need McLaurin to maximize this competition window that Daniels has opened wide. Without him, our chances of making real noise in the playoffs are significantly reduced. Look, I'll be brutally honest with you about what's happening with our Commanders. We've got players fighting for their lives in practices, we lost veteran talent that will hurt, and the most important situation of all, McLaurin's extension, is hanging in the air like a ticking time bomb. Do you think Chris Moore can surprise and earn a spot on the main roster? Do you think Jonathan Allen's loss will affect our defense against teams like Detroit and Philadelphia? And what do you think about Coulson Yankov forcing tough decisions at the tight end position? But the most important question of all is this. Do you think the Commanders will resolve the McLaurin situation before it becomes a bigger distraction that could affect our season? I need you to leave your opinions in the comments because this community we've built together is a family. And families debate, argue, and support each other. If you feel the same passion I feel for this team, if you want to stay up to date with all the news, analysis, and opinions you won't find anywhere else, then I need you to subscribe right now. Because I promise you this, we will follow every move, every decision, every practice until we have all the answers we deserve as fans. This is your home, this is our family, and together we will experience every moment of this season that promises to be historic. And remember, hail to the Redskins.